Hey, what's up everyone? Pete the Guttural Monk here, back with the August edition of the 2016 CD Collection Update videos. I've got 14 brand new releases to share with you guys this week, so I'm going to jump right into it. This is the newest album from Denouncement, Pyre. This one is called Black Sun Unbound. Released a couple weeks ago on Hell's Headbangers. Denouncement Pyre hails from Australia. They play some straightforward black and death metal. This is their third full length, and honestly, this is the album that these guys have always been capable of. Massive lead guitars, excellent songwriting. The production is spot on to what they're trying to achieve with this album. It's not plasticky, it's not bullshit, but it is very approachable. If you are not familiar with Denouncement Pyre, I definitely recommend starting here. Killer album from these guys for sure. Next up, this one could be in my top 10 of the year. This is the fourth full-length and most recent from Sweden's Vanhelgd. This one is called Temple of Phobos. It is actually a dual release between Pulverized and Dark Descent Records. So Vanhelgd plays this crushing old-school Swedish death metal, but this album incorporates a lot more doom into their sound, which I find to be awesome. This album has kicked my ass numerous times in the last 3 weeks since I've got it. This is the Digipack edition, 6-panel Digi. I think there is a jewel case edition as well. Give this a listen if you haven't done so. Vanhelgd never disappoints, and I think this is one of their best releases yet. Really, really killer stuff. Next one up, these guys are out of the US. This is Oak Pantheon with In Pieces. Really shocked to learn that these guys are unsigned and independent. And with that said, I think that they are one of the best unsigned independent black metal bands to come out of the US right now. Really killer album, atmospheric black metal, a little bit of that kind of post-rock influence, lots of folk influence going on to it. Really fantastic songwriting. The opening track, Dawn is the New Day, is fucking mind-blowing stuff. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Tanner that runs the Passive Metal channel. He recommended this one to me a couple weeks ago when I asked for a few recommendations. Thanks again, bro. Check his channel out. I'm going to link it down below if you haven't done so already. He's got a lot of great material on there. But yeah, Oak Pantheon In Pieces. This is a kind of unsung black metal album of the year so far. Really, really killer stuff. Next up is a band that I was not familiar with until I heard this album. But I'm definitely going to be checking out the rest of their catalog. This is the Morningside with Yellow. So I was lurking around Austin Lund's Bandcamp page a couple weeks ago, and he had mentioned that this is his album of the year, and unless something fucking fantastic comes out of nowhere to knock this one off, that it's going to remain that way. Obviously, I was curious. I checked it out. I streamed it on Bandcamp, and upon the first listen, I was fucking sold. I actually picked this one up on eBay. I can't believe how quickly it got from Russia to here. So awesome job on the Russian post. But yeah, these guys are from Russia. They play this kind of like post-rock, doom, dark metal kind of thing going on to it. This album actually has something to do conceptually with Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse 5. I'm not sure exactly what. I haven't read too far into that. But this album, to me, the only way that I could describe this to you guys is like smiling on the outside and fucking dying and drowning on the inside. It is the highest and brightest and most depressive fucking album that I've heard in a long time. Super emotive shit. You guys have to check this one out. At least stream the first couple tracks. If you're not into it by then obviously turn it off and fuck me. But I really think a lot of you guys will dig this one. And Austin, if you're watching, thank you for the constant amazing recommendations through your Bandcamp page. I mean, you're always finding some really killer shit. Next up, this album is probably in my top 5, and it's crazy to go from one extreme to the other, but fucking A, man. This Sewercide album is unbelievable. This is Immortalized in Suffering. This is the best old school death metal album that I've heard in a really, really long fucking time. Unspeakable Acts. I know I've sung the praises a lot on this channel this year, but fucking A, man. You guys are killing it. Here's the back cover to check out. The dude's real fast there. Super high energy stuff. This has become my workout anthem. The drumming is unbelievable. The vocals are just disgusting. Everything about this one just screams that like old school, dirty, sewer fucking vibe. Cannot get enough of this one. I've literally been spinning it once a day. Swear to God, spinning it once a day. Fucking killer stuff. Next up is a band that I wasn't familiar with until this album came out. This one was released on Avant-Garde Records, so I checked it out just for that alone because they're another label that's having a fantastic year. This is Anakin, or Anicon Name of this album is Exegeses or Exegeses. I really don't know how to pronounce it, but it'll be linked in the description. Really sick, 6-panel digipack. They're from New York. They play kind of like a straightforward black metal, melodic black metal. These guys just have riffs upon riffs upon riffs. Every single song is jam-packed with 100 different riffs, and they're all fucking quality. I actually put an analogy to the cover art. Every single one of those trees that you see, they represent a riff on this album, because it's seriously like that when you listen to it. Other shit that I can compare it to, if you've ever heard the first album from Galar, I think it's called Skogsgavad. It sounds, similar to that, where it's just like riff heavy but not nearly as folky. Or you could check out the third album from Elite, We Own the Mountains. That has a lot of, super riff heavy stuff as well. But it's, this album is nowhere near as polished and produced as that Elite album is. Fucking check these guys out. Absolutely deserving of your attention. I'd love to pick this one up on vinyl. I think it's coming out on vinyl very soon, and I'm not going to say who's releasing it because I don't want to sound like an asshole when it's somebody else. So I'm just not going to do that. So this is Ifrinn, or Ifrinn. This is their 2016 demo. This was printed not only on this neat little digipack here, but also on vinyl by Iron Bonehead. And it is just a demo. It's a 5-song demo. This is the first material that this band has ever put out. These guys are from Scotland, which is fucking cool. Kind of sounds a little bit like the Icelandic scene, to be honest with you. Really cold, cavernous, heartless shit. This is going to get a lot of spins in the cooler months coming up for sure. I hope these guys put out more material, because I'm really digging on this one. Next up, I'm not going to spend much time with this one, because I'm sure you've all seen and heard enough about it already. But the new one from Nails, You Will Never Be One of Us. These guys, just a perfect end to their excellent discography. 21 minutes of absolute abuse. The title track is one of my most listened to songs this year. Ever since that fucking video came out a couple months ago, I've just been anticipating this one like crazy. Unfortunately, these guys did split up. They announced their breakup last week. I'm going to leave a link in the description to the Invisible Oranges article that they wrote about that one, because they summed it up better than I or pretty much anyone ever could about how these guys, called it quits at the right time. They're leaving on top. I mean, just, yeah. Great job. Thank you, Nails, for another incredible album, and check out that article for sure. Next up is Havukruunu, and I'm not going to begin to attempt to pronounce the name of this, so I'll just show you on the screen right there. So what this one was, this was actually released as an EP last year. The first 6 songs on this one were released as an EP under this same name last year. The last 4 songs on this album were added to that EP this year to basically transform that EP into a full length of the same name. Killer pagan black metal out of Finland. Really, really dig this album or EP or whatever you want to call it. It's a really fucking killer spin. And it comes on this awesome matte digipack, which is always a nice touch. This is out on Nature Mox Productions. Sorry, I don't think I mentioned that, but they always put out some fucking cool pagan shit. I like that. Next one up is one that I feel kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. Dark Descent Records put this one out a couple weeks ago. This is Sheidim with Shrines of the Void. This is some killer black and death metal out of Spain. Much more influence on black metal. The only thing I can really compare this one to is if you've ever heard Poison Void from Vorum. You know how that album was kind of death metal first, black metal second? This is the opposite. This is black metal first, death metal second, but it sounds very, very similar. I actually had to do a little bit of research to make sure that the vocalist, it was not the same guy, but it turns out that it's not. But these guys just have a very, very similar vibe to that specific release from Vorum. Obviously not Current Mouth or not Grim Death Awaits, but fucking Poison Void especially. So if you're a fan of that album, highly recommend checking this one out. If not, like I said, this is kind of, this is an obscure album of the year so far, because I haven't seen much of a push behind this at all, but it is a really killer release. Don't miss out on that. If you're a fan of black metal, obviously give it a go. Speaking of black metal, this is a absolute mandatory listen for the year of 2016. It's like 33 minutes long. You have no excuse not to hear this one. These guys are out of Portland, Oregon. This is Uada or Wada with Devoid of Light. Absolutely amazing melodic black metal. The way I can describe this one to you is picture Migwa meets Dawn. Like, it just has like the best of both worlds going on here. Lengthy songs, but none of them overstay their welcome at all. This is out right now on Eisenwald. You can pick this album up, I believe, directly from the band. If not, Ominous Domain should have copies remaining. Like I said, mandatory black metal listen for the year. Really, really, really killer stuff. Cannot wait to see what these guys evolve into. And it's a short full length. I mean, it's only 33 minutes long, something like that. And I don't know if you could pick up the texture on this slipcase just based on the picture there. What an awesome touch to its presentation. And it looks fucking badass when it's sitting in there. So Uada, Devoid of Light, really, really killer release if you haven't checked that one out already. That's it for the new stuff. I've got 3 reissues and they're all analog today, which is kind of cool. First up is the reissue of last year's Vampires Cimmerian Shade. This was originally released on Century Media last year on a fucking 10-inch. I had no intention of buying a 10-inch, so I was really hoping somebody was going to release this one on CD at some point, but I'll take the cassette edition, that's cool too. Comes on this fucking cool, Ninja Turtle green cassette with the red tape, which is fucking awesome. I'll show you the J card real fast. This was officially licensed by Century Media, but it's released by Darkness Shall Rise Productions. Nice, kind of lengthy J card there. Really cool shit. Get a better view of the cover artwork, which I always thought was really cool. I don't know if I did that the right way, but yeah, that looks fucking awesome. My one complaint is the dub is not good. Not good at all. It starts pretty good, and then within 30-45 seconds of the first track, it just sinks into a fucking pile of mud. With that said, I've still listened to it a couple times. I really like this EP. I have nothing but great things to say about Vampire. Their self-titled release 2 years ago, 2014. One of the coolest, modern thrashing death metal albums out of Sweden that I've heard in a long time. Cannot wait to see what these guys do next. And if anybody ever releases this on CD, my money is yours, because I want to own this one on CD as well. Next up, I don't know how many of you know that I'm, super diehard New Jersey, New York death metal fan, but owning these tracks, owning these 2 demos on physical format for basically the first time ever since the late 80s is fucking amazing. This is Regurgitation with the Organic Backwash and Bathrooms Rule demos, 1986 and 1987 respectively. This is their complete discography. These guys hailed from New Jersey in the late 80s. In 1987, they changed their name to OLD, Old Lady Drivers. They released, I think, 1 album basically in this same, disgusting, humorous, grindcore, deathy, thrashy, crusty style, before basically transforming the band into like this, industrial, weirdness, whatever they evolved into from there. I kind of lost track, but owning these songs is just, it's so awesome, and listening to it on vinyl, you can almost smell the shit and piss and fucking vomit that they're talking about in these fucking tracks. Really, really cool stuff. It just comes on standard black vinyl, so I don't need to show you that. I'll show you the stamps real fast, because they are pretty cool. I'm very excited to own this, and it comes with this neat little booklet that is basically just old like tour posters, old zine interviews and shit like that. Really, really nice touch to the overall presentation of this one. Show you the inside of the gatefold. This was released on FOAD out of Japan. Here's the back cover there. As a diehard New York, New Jersey fan, I am so happy to own this. And not like they sound like Blood Feast, but not like they sound like Whiplash. But if you're a fan of like that super early, like primitive, New York, New Jersey stuff, this is your chance to own something fucking awesome. Check it out. At least figure out a fucking way to stream it on YouTube or something. I'm sure it's on there somewhere. It has to be. It's the only way I've ever fucking heard these songs before actually owning the actual final release here. But fucking A, Regurgitation, Bathrooms Rule. They ruled in 87. They still fucking rule now, 30 years later, which is just amazing. This is the last one I'm going to share with you guys today. I had to pick at least one of these vinyls up, and I figured I would buy my favorite Cannibal Corpse record on vinyl. Butchered at Birth. It's my favorite album from them for many reasons. It's the first Cannibal Corpse album that I ever bought, first Cannibal Corpse album that I ever heard. First time I was ever fucking scared of an album cover as like an 8-year-old kid walking around Izzy's Records in fucking Linden. A lot of people have mentioned these stamps before. The old school metal blade stamps, which is a fucking awesome touch. Standard black vinyl. Lyric sheet. Nothing too crazy to show there. I am so fucking stoked for this massive fold-out poster of Vince Locke's fucking masterpiece of the Butcher to Birth cover. I'd like to eventually hang this one up, get it framed, the whole nine, because like I said, that is one of the most terrifying pieces that has ever stained and impacted my life. And I'd like to eventually share with you guys the entire Cannibal Corpse collection that I've got. I've got original presses on most of the early albums. I've got censored and uncensored artworks on pretty much everything that has the ability to dual both. So I'd like to share that eventually. That's all I got for today, guys. Thank you all for subscribing. I think I've gotten something like 50 new subscribers since I posted the Let's Talk About Shelves video from Count Blackgarth. Thanks so much, everybody, for checking this channel out and sticking with it. Check out the description, check out the links, check out Tanner's channel, check out that Invisible Orange's article. And until next time, guys, cheers, thanks.